begin the session on group discussions. The expert is already with us, Dr. Mohita Saxsena. Professor Mohita Saxsena is working in the SD College in Chandigarh, and she has been to our institute at number of occasions on talking about on various issues related to communication skills. And I always find that the participants always appreciate her deliveries in our institute. Let me give you a very brief introduction about Professor Mohita Saxsena. She has done her graduation from MCM DAV College, Chandigarh, in English honors. And throughout her schooling and college and university education, she has been scoring very high grades. She has done her post-graduation in Masters of English from Punjab University. And she has also done Bachelor of Education in New Delhi. This is about her educational background. She has also cleared UGC NET and CTET qualified in English and Social Studies. She is presently pursuing her PhD from the Department of English and Culture Studies from Punjab University on mobile assisted language learning under the supervision of Dr. Deepti Gupta, who happens to be a very dear friend of mine also. Dr. Deepti Gupta from Punjab University. She is pursuing her PhD under her. Giving you a little bit about her academic background, I mentioned already that she is pursuing her PhD from Punjab University. She was selected for US Immigration Institute by US Department of State at US Embassy for undergoing training cum immersion program in United States in June 2014. Let me mention it here that she is well traveled in India and abroad, and she was adjudged as the best paper presenter at Amity International ELT conference in 2014. Received grants from US Embassy in India for a research project on Let Girls Be Heard on English language learning in India. She has attended the first ever TESOL. I think my teachers in the English background, they understand. Teaching of English to speakers of other languages. TESOL stands for that. Academy in Chandigarh on 24th and 25th April in Chandigarh, and received intensive workshop on tech solutions for low tech situations. She has attended a number of seminars and workshops to keep abreast with what is happening in the area of soft skills, and especially so in the area of communication skills. She has presented 3 papers: mobile assisted language learning, English language teaching and learning, mobile assisted language learning, the next big, in various conferences, and even in the Social Science Congress in Chandigarh, at ELT conference in Lucknow, and E-Compilation Chandigarh Social Sciences Congress. She has published some books also, fictional, Love is Always, Never, in Criterion International Paper Review Journal, and she has also, I understand, published some books, authored a book on communication skills for polytechnic students of Punjab University in 2012 for India Publishing House. She has worked as a resource person in number of institutions and organizations. As I mentioned, she was also invited in this institute also for a number of talks. She has been working as a teacher trainer and communication skill expert for training English teachers in many schools in Chandigarh also. She has always been a that she spared her this afternoon with us and to be with us. I am really sorry, ma'am, that this session was a little bit delayed, that you have to wait for the previous session was delayed for about half an hour or so. So you had to wait for this session. She was very well before the time. I would say about 1:45 she was here. She is presently working in the SD College, Head of Department, the Department of English, and Staff Secretary at the SD College at Kheri Gurna campus of SD College. Over to Madam Mohita Saxsena ji for her now talks on the group discussion.
Thank you. Well, good afternoon, everybody. It feels good to see that India and Indian colleges are also joining the bandwagon of international colleges when we come to talk of educational technology or learning things the new way, the internet way, or the online way. Now, today's topic of discussion is group discussions. And I have somewhat entitled my presentation as Unlocking the Art and Science Behind Group Discussions. Now, when we talk about group discussions, the first thing that comes to our mind is something very technical. Discussions that happen either in a top B school or in MBA schools or in the conference halls of big corporate houses or educational sectors. One thing that we need to know and understand is that group discussions are the general discussions that take place anywhere, right from a simple dining table discussion that we have with our family members, or any important professional or formal meeting that takes place with our colleagues anywhere. All those discussions are basically group discussions. And when we try to orient ourselves for professional discussions, one has to remember that it is something very natural, and the best is that we just have to present ourselves naturally. There hasn't anything which needs to be made up or acquired. Now, moving on to a more professional setup. um, as you can see on the slides being presented, first of all, let me convey my most humble and sincere thanks to Mr. Singla for very graciously consenting me to use his, valuable PPTs that he's prepared after years of experience. Well, and I found his PPT so well prepared that there wasn't really any need to add too much to it. Now, first of all, the basic requirement of a group discussion generally takes place in an organization or a formal setup where we need to evaluate somebody, not only in terms of their logical, analytical skills, but also in terms of their communication skills, their team spirit, their quality of being adjudged as a leader or a follower. Now, what exactly is the basic purpose of a group discussion? It generally allows you to have a very smooth and a very free flowing exchange of ideas. And it gives you a perfect blend of how it feels to be working as a team and how it feels to be equally recipient of the views of others, everybody, who's around you. What else matters in a group discussion, or who conducts group discussion? Well, as teachers, it is your responsibility to make your class as stimulating, as energized, as cheerful and bubbly as possible. And group discussions are a very, very effective tool of doing that. No teacher likes to be the dominating personality in the class. We all like lovely classes, where students are equally interactive, they're popping up questions, they're coming up with their own solutions, they have their own set of arguments to be debated upon. So group discussions are a perfect blend of making sure that a class room interaction is two-way. Now, the general idea, as you can read on the slide, of a group discussion is to make sure that everybody participates. Remember, it has to be a very, very collective and a cooperative and collaborative effort where, remember mathematics, the sum of the parts has to be greater than the whole. That is the exact motive behind a group discussion. One has to ensure that the views of all those who are present within a community are heard, are respected, and are assimilated before a final solution on a particular topic is taken. In the end, with everybody's help, all those who are around, we'll also try to have a mock group discussion over here. And that will give you an exact feel of what I'm trying to convey to you in the presentation. Now, let's first start looking, or let's try to understand GD, first of all, by looking at its advantages. What is the need for GDs? Why do we have them? And what could be, the most perfect motive behind them? First, as I already discussed, we need to understand that ideas can be generated They can be pulled in, they can be shared, they can be tried out, and they can be responded to by others. As in an informal group discussions that we keep having with our family, friends, or colleagues, everybody has a point of view, everybody has an opinion, and my opinion may not necessarily match with yours, and vice versa. For example, let's say I, as a researcher of mobile assisted language learning, may feel that students must be allowed to bring cell phones to the classroom, and they must be allowed to use them too, and that the teacher can act as a tool in imparting her syllabus or curriculum with the help of such technology. There may be 10 other teachers who may feel that this particular opinion of mine is absolutely trash, and that there is no room for cell phones in a classroom. Students must be strictly prohibited to bring them along. Now, the manner in which how I and the rest of my colleagues handle this sensitive discussion is a group discussion. So ideas not only come, they not only get shared, they also get disapproved at times in a group discussion. Generally, when any of us have to take a big managerial decision, a big organizational change, or when organizations have to find out, when they have to see if the students who have come in through a proper written test are suitable enough, are befitting to be incorporated as part of an organization or not. Group discussions are held, and it is very difficult to find out who the diamond is amidst all the stones who are participating in the discussion. It's not easy. Imagine you sitting in a room full of 20 people, and all you have is 20 minutes to outshine others, to outdo others, and to project that you are somebody who is flexible in terms of thinking, who is very good with facts, who is abreast with the latest knowledge and information on a particular topic. You are somebody who has good communication skills. You can be a good team leader. You can be a good team mate as well. You can be a follower at times, and that you also respect the viewpoints of others. This basically is the primary motive of a group discussion, to find out who among all, or how many amidst a particular group, are suited to be incorporated into a particular organization or into a particular managerial decision or position. Now, when the dynamics of a group discussion are right, the group provides an environment that is very supportive, that is very conducive for discussion. However, if you recall all the group discussions that we keep viewing on all these television channels and news in prime time, you will recall how ugly and repulsive they can be. Whenever I go anywhere and whenever I'm giving a brief on how to conduct a group discussion, the only mandate that I tell my students is, remember the way your politicians, your leaders, your bureaucrats sit and fight and pounce upon each other while exchanging ideas in a panel discussion. That is absolutely the most incorrect way of indulging in a group discussion. So, if even if you don't know what to do in a group discussion, this is what not to do in a group discussion. Remember that when you go to a group discussion, you're carrying an image about yourself. You're carrying the vocabulary that you use. You're carrying the way you look at others. You're carrying the gestures in the manner that you respond to others. You're carrying your body language. You have a way of maintaining an eye contact. All that is a very, very integral part of a group discussion. And even if the group that you are working with is not fun, make sure that you make the environment as conducive and as friendly as possible. Now, moving on, this is a wonderful quote and group discussion. It's a wonderful challenge because all you have is a maximum of 20 minutes to show whether you have it in you or not to be an effective manager, to be an effective teammate, to be somebody who can be looked upon in times of a crisis, somebody who can be looked upon as an anchor to take things forward, to take the lead. Now, what essentially is the basic structure of a group discussion? We've been talking about it on and on. This happens, that happens, but what are the actual aspects? Usually, The most ideal setup of a group discussion that normally all the coveted organizations around the world follow: 5 to 10 participants. But owing to a surge in the population these days, 7 to 12 participants are considered the most conducive participant rate to be involved in a group discussion. They made to sit usually in a round or in a square table formation. They are presented with a particular topic that they have to discuss. They're given a topic. They're normally given 1 or 2 minutes to think over it, to introspect, to retrospect. And after that, the discussion is on. Then the house is open for a discussion, and they're given a base time of about 15 to 25 minutes to discuss, in which they're supposed to do a lot of things. Somebody among those 7 to 12 teammates is supposed to take the initiative of opening the discussion. So he basically expresses his viewpoint, and then he declares the house open for discussion for everybody else to pull in their ideas. The other members then have a responsibility. Somebody among them has to take the lead. Somebody has to take the discussion forward. Somebody else has to make sure that he also gets heard. So what is the primary motive? Let's say I and 5 more people are sitting in a group discussion. And let's say I am somebody who really wants myself to be seen, to be heard, to be acknowledged by others. In those 2 minutes that are given to me to initiate a group discussion, I have to take one crucial decision, which is, should I be the first one to pitch in my views in a group discussion, or should I wait? Let's say I lose my valuable time in thinking whether I should pitch in my views in the first or not, and somebody else, let's say A, takes over and he starts, supplementing his points. He starts giving his own oration. Now, my job is to find a suitable point where I can enter into the discussion without showing any disrespect to him. I have to either build up on the idea that he's given, or I have to very politely, you know, pres- express that I do not agree with his idea, owing to the reasons, and that what my idea is. But while juggling with the thought process of when to pitch in, what to pitch in, I also have to make sure that I'm aware of another thing, that there are 4 other people, probably B, C, D, E, who are also thinking of the same thing. I'm not the only one who wants to interrupt him. Everybody else, it's like a football. Everybody is trying to chase it. Everybody wants to kick it. Everybody wants to score a goal. But then it's everybody. I'm not the only one who's thinking of my strategy. That is the exact point of a group discussion. It's like a football match where you have to take the ball into the goal. You have to make a goal in a logical manner, without committing any foul, without hurting anybody, without providing injury to anybody, in a logical, clear, and very, very pure manner. Once the teammates are, put into the discussion area, they're not presented any rules. There's no referee as such, unless and until the situation is really dire. There's nobody to tell you when can you start. There's nobody to tell you should you interrupt, should you not. They just put you in a room. There may be a jury who may be, looking at you, observing you. And at times, in good organizations with a very nice and fancy infrastructural setup, there's no physical presence who monitors you. You're just made to enter into a room, you're made to sit, you're given a particular case in point to discuss, and then there's nobody except your teammates. It's only the cameras who are watching you. And mind it, you are assessed on every single factor about yourself: the way you sit, the way you look at others, the way you make an eye contact, the way you project your gestures towards others who are speaking, your communication skills, your content, everything. You are under a radar that is scanning you from inside out, that is trying to track your thought process and the way you are behaving with your fellow mates at that particular time. Anyways, moving on. Let's come to the evaluation parameters. What actually are the basics of judging anybody in a group discussion? Primarily, we have 4 parameters which help the jury take or reach a logical conclusion about all the members who are participating in a particular group discussion. The first is The strength of point, as I told you, you presented with a topic, a particular case to discuss. Now, the point is anybody out of you, at any point of time, whosoever is participating in a discussion, what is his thought process? Is he presenting something? Is he presenting a point which is logical, which is reasonable, or is it just a superficial presentation of facts and ideas? Are the facts actually facts, or are they concocted? Are they being fabricated? A lot of times I was privileged enough to have attended actual group discussion meetings of a lot of co-ed organizations like Infosys, like Google, and by the grace of God, I was selected in all of them. The earliest, my first ever group discussion that I participated as a participant was while I was doing my bachelor's, and Google had come recruiting. And I was the first one, and perhaps the only one to have been recruited. It was there that I learned that the points that you present in a group discussion have to be very, very logical. I've seen people building up facts, saying absolutely false and baseless facts for the heck of showing themselves as somebody very learned. So please be very aware, people who are monitoring you, the moment you utter a fact out of your mouth, they have their gadgets to check. For example, if in a group discussion, if I say the population of India increased by, let's say, or the population of Chandigarh increased by 20,000, more heads in the last 5 years, they're actually going to go and check that information within fraction of seconds, and they're going to find out if that's a fact that you've quoted, or you've just mugged it up, or you've just kind of fabricated it. So be very, very sure on the kinds of points that you are presenting. Second thing, your body language. Not only in group discussions, anywhere in the world, from the way you talk to your parents, from the way you approach your boss for a holiday, from the way you request your teacher for a delay in submission of a particular project, your body language is very important. Or the way you look at yourself in the mirror, before you venture out of your home every morning. I'm sure all of us once just take a very proper look at ourselves and how are we looking today? How are we doing today? So the way you look, the way you present yourself to others is very important. And by look, we do not necessarily mean how good looking or how ugly looking you are. No. How well presentable are you? How are you sitting? Are you sitting cross-legged? Is your back straight? Is your neck drooping somewhere? Are you looking, absolutely bored? There are some people who sit in a group discussion like this. So this is one way of telling others involuntarily that I'm just not enjoying the discussion that we are have, and that I'm waiting for it to get over. Then there are others who have a very, very negative way of looking at others. Let's say somebody is talking and I'm looking at him like this. That okay, you finish up and then I'm going to counteract you. So these are things that go against you. Then there are some um, postures where you also have to make sure that you're sitting in a very, very pleasant and hygienic, not exactly hygienic, but a little conducive manner. We've seen people, biting their nails. We've had people tearing off their epidermis of the lips just because they're nervous, and that's an involuntary action. Then there are some people who have this weird habit of poking pencils or pens into their ears and taking things out of them. So make sure that you don't allow your nervousness to take the better part of you. Be relaxed, sit with a pleasant posture, have a smile on your face. Don't look within image as if you're going to pounce upon others. Some people have that element. And similarly, don't sit in a way too excited manner. There are some people who are sitting like this, ki bas aap khatam karo, I want to pitch in, I have something to say. And then involuntarily, a lot of students do this mistake. They forget that they're sitting in a professional setup, and they involuntarily raise their hands that please, I want to say something, or please allow me to participate. You can't do that in a group discussion. All you have is your body language to present that you want to pitch in. Try and make that involuntary eye contact with people. Try to find a suitable point, a juncture where maybe they must be about to end and then you can pitch in. But let your body language be as transparent, as pure, as pleasant, as pleasing as it could be. and that fetches you a lot of brownie points. The way a person makes entry into the group discussion area, the way he projects himself while sitting, what are his mannerisms, the kind of gestures that he's making, say a lot about him. There are people who know that what somebody is saying is very nice, but they don't appreciate them in a group discussion simply because they feel that it will let the other person earn a lot of more points. But if you genuinely feel, let's say I wanted to say something, but my point is already being spoken by somebody else, instead of showing a gesture like this, that, oh, this is what I wanted to say, you've stolen my point, why can't you simply applaud that good? And then pitch in, using a sentence maybe like, I completely agree with what you say, and in fact, to add to what you are saying, this is what I would like to supplement. So there are ways of showing your participation in a group discussion. And when you're sitting in the discussion, make sure you try and make friends with all the participants. Generally what happens, आधे लोग आधे टीममेट से झगड़ा ही कर लिख करके वापस आ जाते हैं. They look at others like this, or they imitate their points in a bad manner. They should reflect unpleasant gestures, and that spoils the whole fun. You are not going in a battlefield to make enemies. You're not going in a battlefield to shoot others. You are entering into a moderated discussion with a clear cut aim of striking a balance and of making and of trying to make a consensus with all those around. So remember these things. The next point is quite sensitive, and that's about assertiveness. Now, assertiveness here basically means trying to prove your point. That has to do with two things. One is the confidence with which you accept the viewpoints of others who are with you, the confidence and grace with which you accept the viewpoints of others who are not with you, who do not agree with your point, how well you deal with them, how graciously you allow them to present their points without getting yourself felt let down, and without disrespecting their viewpoints. Second thing that comes is articulation. How well are you able to string your ideas together, and how well you're able to present them, to utter them out in the form of good words. How choicest is your vocabulary? How well placed are your ideas? That all comes in your assertiveness, the way you present your ideas, and that also earns you very, very crucial points. A lot of people learn body language, they go to institutes, they acquire, they don't imbibe, they acquire the skills to sit in a particular body language, but the moment they open their mouth, they lose all the sheen that they have. So assertiveness is something that comes naturally. It's a part of your personality. No institute, no teacher can tell you how to be assertive. That's something inherent. That's something that you acquire from birth and through the years that you grow up. The other thing are your communication skills. Of course, a group discussion without communication skills is completely not possible. So, what is your command over language? What is the throw of your voice? How clear is your projection? How well are you modulating your voice? All these factors, again, they string together and they fall under the fountainhead of communication skills. So, the way you orate your ideas, the way you present your ideas, that comes under communication skills. Now, when you add up these points, these are the 100 fortune key points that you're basically trying to earn in a group discussion. Moving on from the evaluation parameters, we now come to list of roles of some of the members. As I told you, now let's go back to the example that I gave you of panel discussions on news channels or TV channels. You have all sorts of characters. When you enter into a group discussion, you start playing a character. And what are those different characters? कोई ना कोई ऐसा होता है जो सबको एक who acts as a sutradhar. He tries to bridge the gulf between different ideas. There are others who are there to spoil the fun. There are others who are there to spread unpleasantness. Then there are some people who are there just to show encouragement to others. So the moment you or I enter into a group discussion, we involuntarily wear a character to ourselves. Now, when we talk about these task roles, these are the various characters. किस किस तरह से लोग अपने आप को present करते हैं in a group discussion. Or what are the different manners in which teammates in a group discussion function? The first one, initiator. Who is an initiator? Once the gauntlet is thrown, once the challenge has been given that, all right, teammates, this is your topic of discussion. Now, we come to a situation where it's something like, who is going to bell the cat? पूरी टीम बैठी डिसाइड कर लिया. Remember that story, that moral fable, that the rats were being disturbed by a cat and they had a meeting that हमने decide कर लिया है कि हम बिल्ली के गले में घंटी बांध देंगे, जैसी वो आएगी हमें पता चल जाएगा. And they're very happy and they bring a bell. But discussion यहाँ आके रुक जाता है कि आखिर वो कौन सा चूहा है जो वो घंटी बिल्ली के गले में डालेगा. Now, this situation is something exactly similar to the fact that group discussion initiate कौन करेगा? Your jury has given you a topic. Your precious 2 minutes have been given to you. Now the house is open for discussion. Which of the teammates is going to take the lead and present his ideas? That is somebody who's called an initiator. ऐसा कौन है जो सबसे पहले ये challenge accept करेगा और अपने ideas को present करेगा? Now, this is something that I'm going to come back even towards the end of the discussion, because group discussions के बारे में सबसे बड़ा confusion या जो एक fact जो लोग हमेशा cross check करना चाहते हैं वो ये है that क्या हमें group discussion initiate करना चाहिए? Should we be the first person to start a discussion? या क्या ये challenge लेना ठीक है कि हम सबसे पहले initiator बने? Now we'll discuss it at length towards the later part. Second come people who are information seekers. You must have seen ऐसे बहुत सारे लोग group discussions में होते हैं, या कई बार, let's be honest, आप और मैं भी ऐसे होते हैं when we participate in a discussion and we don't have much to say about it, तो हम instead of supplementing information from our end, we keep encouraging others. हाँ जी, आप बताइए, ऐसा नहीं हो रहा आजकल, what do you have to say? So in a way, just to be heard that हाँ, we also are a part of discussion, what we involuntarily do is we invite others to give information. So again, there are some people who act as information seekers and they keep on asking questions to others. For example, let's say the topic of our group discussion today is okay, I was just reading it in the newspaper yesterday that taking selfies आजकल बहुत trend है. Everybody wants a phone which has a front camera. Everybody wants to take a selfie because not every time we have somebody who can click a picture. Professors at the Harvard University have declared that taking selfie is a neurotic disorder, that there's something wrong with people who are obsessed with the idea of taking a selfie. Now let's say this is a topic of today's discussion, for example. Now, I do not know anything about it. Let's say मुझे कुछ नहीं पता and I'm sitting in a group discussion with 9 other people, I'm the 10th one. And I also want myself to be noticed. I also want people to say that, oh yes, she participated. But at this point of time, I do not have any information to supplement. So what I can do is, let's say कोई और already बोल रहा है इस topic पे, I can just say, I completely agree with you. I've also seen other people taking selfies, at strategic positions near a waterfall, standing at the doors of a moving train, taking selfies while driving. So don't you think it's a very difficult trend? How can you support it? And by saying something, I pass on the discussion to somebody else's court. Now, मैंने अपनी presence भी felt करा दी and I've moved on. I've given a chance to somebody else. अब जिसको मैंने मौका दिया बोलने का, he'll also be very happy. He'll be thankful towards me, because generally what happens in a group discussion, उस 20 मिनट के टाइम में जो बोल रहे होते हैं वो चुप नहीं होते, जो पहले नहीं बोल पाते उन्हें बोलने का मौका नहीं मिलता, जो आधे लोग बोल रहे होते हैं वो आपस में लड़ पड़ते हैं. Generally, group discussions end up as a battlefield with half of the participants disappointed. They label the jury as very partial, हमें बोलने का मौका नहीं दिया. आधे लोग होते हैं जो इस बात पे गुस्सा हो जाते हैं, एक दूसरे से खफा हो जाते हैं that oh, he was very rude to me or he didn't agree with my point. आधे लोग इस 20 मिनट के ग्रुप डिस्कशन को शायद 40 मिनट बाहर खड़े होकर सुलझाते हैं, that I want to now make sure that you listen to my point, और मैं तब ये नहीं बोल पाया. Yeah, it becomes like a fish market, So you have to make sure that you enter and come out of a group discussion with your grace. That group discussion is there only for 20 minutes of your life. It's not going to stay on with you. So even if you do not have anything substantial to say at the moment, Just gracefully act as an information seeker, give chance to somebody else, and maybe when he says something similar, then an idea may strike your mind and then you can participate. You don't get a chance only once to participate. There are n number of chances in a group discussion to enter, provided you are smart enough to gauge those chances. Anyways, there are other people in a group discussion who act as an information giver. उनके पास they are an encyclopedia. बस आप उन्हें बोलने का मौका दीजिए and they're ready to pitch in. Again, it's very good. If you are an information giver with foolproof information, kudos to you. That's a very good job that you're doing. Then there are others who are procedure facilitator. Now, in some of the institutes, the jury takes care of this. Whereas in some of the group discussions, the members decide to be that so that they also earn some brownie points. Let's say in a group discussion among 10 people, let's say 4 of them are having a heated discussion. लेकिन बाकी 6 चुपचाप बैठे, अगर उनमें से कोई एक हल्का सा भी ये ध्यान रखे कि सबको बात करने का मौका मिल रहा है उसके साथ साथ, it adds to your grace because that shows that you're not just a teammate but you are a team leader. You're putting the entire team together, allowing everybody to participate. Yeah, and good organizer also. You're allowing everybody to collect their thoughts together. Moving on. Opinion seeker. Somebody who wants to question the conclusion. Somebody who's practically never satisfied with an answer. Somebody who always thinks that the discussion should be on for some more time. Opinion giver. Somebody, you must have seen. सवाल आप किसी और से करेंगे, जवाब कोई और देगा. Again, these are people who believe that I must give the answer or that I have the best answer in the world. Again, try avoiding being such characters, as I've been telling you repeatedly. Be very, very judicious with your words. The basic idea of a group discussion is to say the maximum using the minimum number of words and in the minimum amount of time. Next, um, if we discuss some of the other important people, uh, roles rather, in a group discussion, we have somebody as a social supporter, a group member who's very alert, who's very assertive, and who's very supportive of others' ideas. As I was already mentioning, that let's say you had something very nice on your mind to say, but your idea has already been taken up by somebody else. Instead of getting demotivated or demoralized, applaud them, thank them and acknowledge their presence and then add some of your ideas. For example, a very good term that has been used is that we're coming up with some good ideas here. Let's say everybody has already said जो मेरे दिमाग में था. I can always add up to it that we're coming up with some very good ideas here, but I think there is this part of discussion that still needs to be discussed. Or if there's anybody among you, among us, who would want to say anything contrary to this, you're most welcome. Again, you act as a sutradhar while you do such things, and you earn extra appreciation from your group for being a positive element, for being a balancer. Next, um, energizer. Let's discuss about an energizer. Now, energizer is somebody who accepts very, very honestly that somebody else sitting in a room has made a point that has made him give a second thought to his decision. एक ये भी when you actually participate in a group discussion, एक ये भी ऐसा ख्याल है जो आपके दिमाग में जरूर आता है. Sometimes, let's say there's a topic, some people are for the topic, you are against the topic. But during the discussion, sometime you may feel that नहीं, शायद दूसरे वाले लोग ज्यादा ठीक कह रहे हैं, या अब मैं भी अग्री करने लगा हूं उनकी बात से. Is it right for me to shift my opinion? The answer is yes. If you feel it from your heart, if you really feel that somebody else sitting in the room has said something which has actually struck a chord in your mind and he's made you think again, accept it and let the group know. And you may also present your transformed viewpoint. There's no harm in that as long as you're being honest. It might happen. It happens so many times, you keep on criticizing something and then somebody else comes in and says something too good about it, something too good to be true, and then you need to see the other side of the story. So similarly, if something happens like that in a group discussion, you can be gracious enough to accept it. Okay, All the other roles will come into prominence when we get into the actual discussion. And I'm going to bring up the roles of a compromiser, of a gatekeeper, while we get into the actual modulated discussion. One thing, one brownie tip that I want to give here is negative roles in a group discussion must be absolutely avoided. In the sense that if you feel that your emotions are about to take the better part of you, no, don't let them. Again and again, I've been telling you, be a have a very, very positive persona. No negativity. You don't have to look down upon anybody. You don't have to show your disapproval in a very aggressive manner to anybody. You have to be very, very poised. You have to absolutely project your best positive persona in front of others. So please avoid any negative allocation of roles while participating in a group discussion. Then there are some other interesting characters in a group discussion. Disgruntled non participant. There are people in a group discussion who are not participating, who mainly sit there as a mute participant with nothing to say. अक्सर उन्हें समझ ही नहीं आ रहा होता है what is happening in a discussion. They don't have anything to contribute, and therefore they always look disgruntled. They are dissatisfied. They neither agree with somebody nor they disagree with somebody. They practically wait for the discussion to get over. So these are one types of characters. The others are attackers. Now attackers, dominators, and clowns. These three categories are some of the most despised categories in a group discussion. If you are also sitting in a group discussion, आपको भी ऐसे लोग पसंद नहीं आएंगे. इसलिए ये बहुत ज़रूरी है that you ensure that at least you don't act like any of these. Who is an attacker? Somebody who gets very aggressive, जो बहुत बहुत ज़्यादा aggressive हो जाता है, and very aggressively he conveys it. For example, हो सकता है somebody might be feeling that, let's say we're having a discussion on something as important as, let's say, quota system. Now there may be somebody who must be thinking that हाँ quota system नहीं होना चाहिए. There should be, a fair system of assessing everybody's knowledge and skills, and that we should not be allowed to be considered privileged just because we are born into a particular community. हो सकता है मैं इस बात से अग्री ना करती हूँ, but and मैं एक अटैकर हूँ, so as an attacker my natural reaction would be very aggressive. You must have seen people bang their hands on the table and they show it through their body language and they accuse others using a finger. No, how can you say that? I do not agree. ऐसा नहीं है. This is somebody who's called an attacker, जो लिटरली वेट कर रहा है अटैक करने को. समबडी जिसको देख के आपको ऐसा लगे कि इस डिस्कशन के बाद मुझे बाहर पकड़ के पीटेगा कि क्यों बोला ये. नेवर बी दैट. ऑलवेज मेक श्योर नोबडी लाइक्स टू टॉक टू एन अटैकर. सो व्हाई बी वन? जब आप किसी से इस तरह बात नहीं करना चाहेंगे तो आप खुद क्यों करें किसी से इस तरह बात. सेकेंड, डोमिनेटर. डोमिनेटर इज अ कैरेक्टर जो ग्रुप डिस्कशन में विदाउट टॉपिक सुने ही ये सोच लेता है और डिसाइड कर लेता है दैट सबसे अच्छा ओपिनियन मेरा ही है यहाँ. सो आई एम गोना डोमिनेट इट. आप कुछ बोल के देखिए एंड आई एम देयर टू क्रिटिसाइज यू. और इवन इफ यू आर सेइंग समथिंग व्हिच आई एग्री टू, आई वोंट शो इट. नहीं नहीं, आप ये कैसे कह सकते हैं कि ये बात ठीक है, मैं ऐसा सोचता हूँ. और people who feel I, me, myself is the most important keyword in my dictionary. Such people try to dominate the discussion. They always like to show कि मैं ही सबसे important character हूँ इस discussion में. I am the most important personality here. जो बाकी लोग बोल रहे हैं वो सब गलत है. Again, avoid being that. Somebody who tries to dominate a group discussion through unethical means never is the winner. He is never liked by any of the jury members. He's never appreciated. Rather, everybody wants a dominator to subside and to become submissive as soon as possible. The last category is a clown. Somebody who has no idea what is being discussed. Somebody who does not have anything substantial to contribute, who has no facts, and he just wants to let this discussion get over but wants to show his presence. So there are people who kill the true essence of a discussion with their stupid jokes, with their absolutely unwelcomed sense of humor. who try to add necessarily humorous situations to an otherwise very serious topic. So ऐसे लोग, they try to play a clown, कि आप लोग, using satirical statements, using very silly jumlas simply to capture everybody's attention, but they have no substance, they have no cement in their overall structure, who face an absolute lack of subjectivity, who have no content to be shared with others. ऐसे लोग usually end up being a clown. And again, they earn no points. Absolutely no, nothing. Because assertiveness नहीं है, communication skills नहीं है, कोई reasonable point नहीं है. So these are the different types of roles that you find in a group discussion, different types of characters that we inadvertently put on when we enter a group discussion. Coming on to the next leg of our discussion, there are some delusions, there are some doubts, या ऐसी misconceptions जो हम सोच लेते हैं, या we are told by people that ऐसी ऐसी चीजें हैं जो आपको ग्रुप डिस्कशन में करनी चाहिए, या हम खुद ही ये सोच लेते हैं कि अगर मैं ऐसा करूंगा शायद I will be declared as the winner, I will be the hero of the group discussion. But these are misconceptions. First misconception: I have to be a fluent speaker to excel in group discussion. Generally, most of the students and even the teachers, they have this huge misconception that if I do not have good communication skills, if I'm not a good speaker, I can never win a group discussion. Well, group discussion is not about winning. It's about putting forth your views. It's about making your presence being felt. You do not have to be fluent to capture everybody's attention in a group discussion. All you need to do is to present your thoughts in the simplest of the simple language. Never get intimidated. You know, it happens every time when you, before you enter a group discussion, we all have a habit of making sure that who are the other participants, how are they looking, what is the manner in which they are talking, how good are their communication skills. Never get scared if you see somebody who's very good in his communication skill. Using heavy, big, bombastic words never earns any extra points to anybody in a group discussion. Rather, the basic purpose of a group discussion is to present your ideas in a simple manner. See a basic example of this. वही न्यूज़पेपर या वही मैगजीन बिकती है जिसकी भाषा लोगों को समझ आए. ग्रुप डिस्कशन में लोग आपकी बात उतनी इजीली समझ पाएंगे जितना आप उन्हें सिंपल शब्दों में समझाएं. You are not sitting there to show off your vocabulary knowledge to them. You're not sitting there to show off your knowledge. You're sitting there to share your ideas and to allow others to exchange their ideas with you. So be very, very flexible on that. You don't have to be a fluent speaker. You have to be a courteous, well-informed, and very welcoming speaker. That's it. The second delusion is maximum sound level earns the most attention. मैं जितना चिल्ला के बोलूंगा, जितना ऊंची तरह से बोलूंगा, उतना लोग मेरी बात सुनेंगे. Well, nobody enjoys noise. Everybody likes music. शोर किसी को पसंद नहीं है. अगर आप मेरे घर में आके प्यार से डोरबेल बजा के मुस्कुरा के कहेंगे कि क्या एक कप चाय पिलाएंगी, शायद मैं पिला दूं. आप चिल्ला के कहेंगे कि आप चाय पिलाएंगी, डेफिनेटली मैं दरवाजा बंद करूंगी and I would say नहीं पिला सकती. So again, the same thing applies here. You don't have to shout, you don't have to show the pitch of your voice to others, you don't have to make sure that the throw and the projection of your voice is acknowledged. Not at all. Be very courteous, very polite. एक सभ्य, एक शिष्टाचार के साथ एक डिस्कशन में एंटर करना है. अपनी नेचुरल वॉइस पे ही बोलना है. ना आवाज को ज्यादा धीरे करना है, ना ज्यादा तेज करना है. एक बैलेंस स्पीड पे, इतनी स्पीड पे कि आपके सामने वाला बैठा इंसान आपकी आवाज सुन सके. That's it. Second cheese. And one more thing, when you talk about the sound level, please remember, a discussion is a discussion. It is not a debate. आपको वहाँ हाथ पैर नहीं पटकने. You don't have to shout. It's a discussion. It's not a debate. Second delusion, changing stance means fickle-mindedness. अगर मैं पहले किसी पॉइंट के साथ था, अब मैं अपना पॉइंट चेंज करता हूँ, तो लोग कहेंगे कि मैं स्टैंड नहीं ले पाता. You're not fickle-minded. It just rather it shows a quality in you. One, it shows you are honest, कि आप मान रहे हैं कि आप पहले जिस पॉइंट से एग्री कर रहे थे अब आप नहीं करते, आप अपने दिल की बात कन्वे कर रहे हैं. सेकेंडली, इट ऑल्सो शोज हाउ फ्लेक्सिबल यू आर, कि आप दूसरों की बात को मद्देनजर रखते हैं, उस पर विचार करते हैं, एंड देन यू डिसाइड टू जॉइन हैंड्स विद देयर थॉट. दैट्स समथिंग सो पॉजिटिव अबाउट यू. That shows that as a teammate, you're very flexible, you're open to ideas of others. So that always goes in your favor. आप ये मत समझिए कि अगर मैं एक ग्रुप डिस्कशन में गया हूँ, मैंने एक पॉइंट को 10 मिनट सपोर्ट कर दिया है और बाद में रियलाइज कर लिया है कि वो पॉइंट गलत है, तो मैं उसी के साथ रहूँ. नो, बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट, बी वेरी ओपन एंड बी वेरी अलर्ट. नाउ इसका मतलब ये भी नहीं है कि आप जिस मर्जी के पॉइंट के साथ एग्री कर जाए. बी वेरी रैशनल, weigh both the sides, let the scales decide कि क्या सही है क्या गलत है. But if you genuinely feel that you want to flip your stance of the discussion, do that. Do that gracefully and be humble enough to accept it. Another big misconception: I should try to speak more and more. 20 minutes में से जितनी ज़्यादा देर मैं बोलूँगा उतनी देर जूरी सिर्फ मुझे ही देख रही होगी. क्या पता उतनी देर में आप डोमिनेटर या अटैकर बन रहे हो. क्या पता उतनी देर में आप ज़्यादा बोलने के चक्कर में क्लाउन बन रहे हो. Quite possible that while trying to speak more and more, you are actually losing all the points that you had earned while you opened the discussion. Nobody gets noticed for being visible for the maximum time. It takes quality. Always remember, in a group discussion is also, like in other things of life, quality matters over quantity. There are so many things that happen. आप एक normal movie भी कई बार देखने जाते हैं. There were so many movies that came up. कई बार किसी कैरेक्टर का रोल सिर्फ 5 मिनट के लिए स्क्रीन पे आता है. But somehow when you come back and you are thinking about that movie, आप कई बार you don't even remember the lead actors. You sometimes remember who was that fellow. वो 5 मिनट जो उसने रोल प्ले किया था, it was something that is not getting out of my mind. So what is that? He didn't take the majority of screen time. All it did was quality work to make space in your heart and your mind. This is the primary motive of a group discussion also. कम बोलो लेकिन अच्छा बोलो. Say something which actually makes everybody else think over their point once again. Next, I will be selected only if others lose. ये वो वाली बात है कि मैं रेस में तभी फर्स्ट या सेकंड आऊंगा जब सिर्फ 2 लोग पार्टिसिपेट करेंगे. No, you are not there to make others lose this battle. You are there to outshine them. You are there to outdo them. You there to show your presence along with theirs. You don't have to worry about whether they are winning or losing. आपको अपना काम करना है. You have to present your points. You don't have to be rude to anybody. You just have to make your points heard. Listen to viewpoints of others. Agree if you feel like. If you disagree, very politely express it and come out of it. It is not in your hands to decide who was the best speaker, or should you have spoken more, or should somebody else have spoken less. No. Be very, very judicious on yourself when you enter into a discussion. Now, again, coming back to that same point that I repeated in point number 3, please remember discussion is very different from a debate. But as human beings, we love to have debates. हम वो कहते हैं ना कि there's this very popular quote. Some masters of wisdom have said that humans never listen with the intention. हम किसी की बात कभी भी उस इंटेंशन से नहीं सुनते कि वो क्या कह रहा है. हम इस इंटेंशन से सुनते हैं कि हम उसका जवाब कैसे दें. For example, even if you recollect a basic discussion that you have with your family or your colleagues, आज बहुत ठंड है. नहीं आज कम है, मुझे सुबह ज़्यादा लग रही थी. Now what is that? Simply कि मैं भी कुछ नया बोलूँ. Everybody wants to have something else. These days, when I keep going to different institutes and organizations, and I keep talking to teachers also, pan world, across the globe, there's one particular streak that has come up. Everybody wants to be different. मतलब अगर एक रूम में अगर आप आज यहाँ बैठ के भी पूछ ले that let's have a discussion on whether smoking is good for health or not, I challenge you, एक 100 लोगों के रूम में 2-4 निकल आएंगे जो बोलेंगे नहीं नहीं, आई थिंक स्मोकिंग इज अ वेरी गुड थिंग. व्हाट वुड बी द पर्पस? कि बस मैं क्राउड से अलग हूँ. एक फ्रेज होता था पहले कि मैं भीड़ में एक चेहरा नहीं बनना चाहता. आई थिंक वी ह्यूमंस हैव टेकन इट टू सीरियसली. मुझे कुछ भी अलग बोलना है तो मैं कुछ भी अलग बोलूंगा उसके लिए. You don't have to do that in a group discussion. You don't have to show others that how, irrational thinking or unique a thinker you are. Make sure you say something that is in resonance with the civilization in which you are living. So एक डिस्कशन को डिस्कशन ही रहने देना है, डिबेट नहीं बनाना है with unnecessary viewpoints. Now, a debate is a perfect situation for expressing intense emotions. We've all seen in our school days, college and university days, debaters are very sensitive people. They're emotionally charged people. Please remember to take off your debating gloves before you enter into a group discussion. It is not about emotions. It is not about overflow of your sensitivity. Group discussion has to be something in which you are in absolute control of your body, mind, and soul. You can't let any of these three things take over you. So, a GD therefore calls for a lot more maturity, for a lot more grace, and a lot more logic. The purpose of a GD, as I've already told you, it's not to see who is a winner, who is a loser, who has the best communication skills, who has the best body language. No, it just has to see that who among out of these one or two people, who among these are those who are able to give respect to the ideas of others, who are able to present their own viewpoints, and who are able to take the discussion forward. क्या इनमें से वो लोग हैं जो टीम मेट्स की तरह काम कर सकते हैं और लोगों की तरह? Now, after having gone through all these points, one thing that we now can quickly brush up is how to gear up for a GD. क्या तैयारी करने की जरूरत है जब हम एक GD में पार्टिसिपेट करने जा रहे हैं? First thing, सबसे बड़ी बात, you have to be well informed. You have to make sure that you're very well aware about everything that is happening in your society. You have to revise your knowledge bank. Extra कुछ करने की जरूरत नहीं है. Make sure that आपको जो आता है, you know it, and that you have the confidence to share it with others when the need arises. Second thing that I have been saying repeatedly, to maintain a positive stance, to be very, very optimistic, to be very, very free, to be very, very welcoming to others. Now, also to remember that अगर आप in an institute, in an organization, in a company, अगर आप उसमें इस position तक पहुंचे हैं that you've been invited for a GD, you have to make sure that this is your golden opportunity. You can either make it, you can either mar it. So you have to be very, very focused, channelized, competitive, yet very, very charmed and poised at the same time. And the second thing, you have to be a very good listener, and you have to be a very good and encouraging entity as well. You have to listen to the ideas being presented by everybody else in the room, and then and there you have to take the stance of deciding whether you agree with them or not. But you cannot simply disagree and show your aggression. एक, a group discussion, even if it doesn't lets you go to the next stage of a particular competition or a discussion, it lets you understand a very important rule of life, and that is to understand and to empathize with the ideas of others. You cannot just agree or disagree. Some things in life are very, very balanced. Not everything in life can be black and white. Many things have to be gray. Now, phases of group discussion. As we started in the beginning as well, the first is the initiation. The moment the gauntlet is thrown, who is going to take up that challenge? कौन सबसे पहले ग्रुप डिस्कशन की फर्स्ट लाइन इनिशिएट करेगा? कौन उसका फर्स्ट स्पीकर, की स्पीकर बनेगा? The second stage is once the discussion is open, somebody has taken on that challenge, he's presented his viewpoint, maybe against, maybe in a balanced way, maybe for the topic, and then everybody else pitches in their ideas. Once everybody else also joins in, then the house is open. Everybody else feels encouraged ki chalo, the initiation has been done, now we just have to participate. So that comes the body of the discussion, wherein out of, let's say, 10, at least 7 8 members are contributing their ideas. There are others who are, juggling to find time to pour in their ideas as well. And then comes the summarization. Now again, that's something very important. You need to have somebody among the group. Rather, you need somebody to don the mantle of being a summarizer. Somebody who agrees to bring all the points that have been spoken in a group discussion and to recount them towards the end, along with adding his or her own viewpoint. Let's say we had a group discussion on the topic, should students be allowed, should students be given access to cell phones while they are in school, something like that. Now let's say everybody has spoken their points. Now before the jury comes in, before the jury gives out their verdict, and you see that the time is about to get up, maybe let's say I feel, okay, let me quickly be the summarizer. मैंने बोला भी कम है डिस्कशन में, मैं चुपके से जाके जल्दी से डिस्कशन में घुसता हूँ, सबके व्यू पॉइंट्स को साथ में लेता हूँ और अपना भी प्रेजेंट कर देता हूँ. क्या पता इसी बहाने में ज्यूरी की नजरों में आ जाओ. That's again a very good stance. You bring in all the points that are being spoken, you take into account every other viewpoint that has been spoken, and you supplement yours as well. Now, not every group discussion reaches a particular conclusion. You cannot expect half of the people to agree or half of them to disagree and then finally कि वो एक consensus में पहुंचे. Usually 90% of the group discussions are left open-ended. But फिर भी, whatever it is, a summarization is still necessary. You can't just leave them then and there. Then there are initiation techniques. When we talk about every stage, we'll talk in detail about the initiation and the summarizing or the conclusion stage. Now, what could be the perfect way to enter into a discussion, to start the discussion, to declare the house open for instruction? Now, as I was telling you initially, being an initiator is very tricky. It can either, it can either be a thumbs up or it can be an absolute thumbs down, depending upon how you perform. Now, the first thing, if you decide to speak, to be the first speaker, you have to remember that you will be grabbing all the eyeballs in a discussion. Usually, people don't even settle down by the time they're given a topic. So sometimes the moment you start speaking, you will see so many pairs of eyes looking at you. That, okay, who's the one who's speaking? What is his body language? How is he or she looking? So be ready to handle that much attention. Secondly, and very, very crucially, only be an initiator when you have good amount of facts to back your answer on. You can't just enter into a discussion, be the initiator, and then, goof up in the middle. ऐसा ना हो कि बोलना शुरू किया, बीच में चुप हो गए, and then embarrassed होके कुछ बचा ही नहीं बोलने को. Once you know you're prepared, once you know you have suitable facts, only then decide to be an initiator. And once you know that आपके पास कोई fact है, let's say मुझे एक topic मिला है group discussion में, which is that should mobile phones, let's take the same topic, be allowed in the class or not? Let's say I decide to be an initiator. Then I must have facts. कितने बच्चे हैं जो मोबाइल्स लेके आते हैं स्कूल्स में? क्या वो मोबाइल स्मार्टफोन्स हैं? क्या अगर उन्हें कनेक्टिविटी दी जाए, क्या वो नहीं जाएंगे फेसबुक, व्हाट्सएप जैसी साइट्स में? क्या हमारे स्कूल में प्रॉक्सी सर्वर्स हैं? Now let's say I'm aware of these statistics. I might just start my discussion. I might say that although 70% of the students bring mobile phones to the class, but if we decide to allow them to get into the class, we also need to take into account the rest 30% of the students who may be belonging to the categories of EWS, who may be belonging to other categories, or who may be belonging to families that are very sensitive and are very strict against the ideas of giving cell phones to the students. So, अगर हम ये डिसाइड करते हैं कि हम इनवाइट करें बच्चों को लाने के लिए या ना करें, what about that population which does not have any access to cell phones? No, that is something on facts. आपने ये ध्यान में रखा कि हाँ भाई 30% population है जिसके पास है ही नहीं ये चीजें. Now, when you have such facts to back your answers upon, only then be an initiator. Secondly, do not speak for more than 1.5 to 2 minutes. Once you have initiated, it will earn you a lot of remarkable points अगर आपको लग रहा है कि जब मैं बोल रहा हूँ somebody else want to pitch in, complete your sentence and then say, and yes my friend here would like to say something. उससे क्या होगा, जिसको आपने बारी दी बोलने की, he'll be happy. हो सकता है he might return your favor in the same group discussion, and then the jury would also feel that yes, here is somebody जिसने औरों को भी मौका दिया and who has not collected all the time and attention just for himself. Moving on, these are all the points that have actually been written, but मैं आपके लिए बोल इसलिए रही हूँ because of course सुनी हुई चीजें ज्यादा याद रहती हैं, पढ़ी हुई चीजें कम याद रहती हैं. Next, what are the lines or what are the techniques through which you can initiate? Usually people take help of a lot of quotes. You know, masters of wisdom have written so much of literature for us that we can always take help from them. The other could be a definition. It could be a question. A very nice way of starting a discussion could be a question. For example, इसी टॉपिक पे अगर हम मोबाइल्स के टॉपिक पे ही बात करें, another way of asking would be, अगर मुझे इनिशिएट करना है डिस्कशन, लेट्स से 10 के 10 लोग सोच रहे हैं और मैं स्टार्ट करूं, that imagine a situation where every student in the class has a cell phone and the teacher is allowing those cell phones to be used and is asking the students to reply to a particular question that she has posted on a WhatsApp group then and there. Don't you think it would look really remarkable? Now, what have you done? Without giving anybody an idea कि आप discussion के for हैं या against हैं या आप क्या बोलना चाह रहे हैं, you've put them into a different mindset. So a question also is a very nice way of, grabbing everybody's attention. Similarly, a shock statement. It could be a fact, it could be a figure, it could be, again, a quote used in a very, very sensational manner. Facts, figures, statistics could also be quoted. Short stories, general statement, कोई भी ऐसा अनोखा तरीका या एक बहुत valid point जो आपके दिमाग में है could be used as a way to initiate a discussion. Initiate हो गया. It has been a part of the body. Everybody has discussed it. Now, how to summarize it? How to conclude it? Well, as I was telling you, most GDs do not have a conclusion. नहीं हो पाता. Mob mentality ऐसी नहीं होती that सब लोग agree or disagree करें. But every GD has to be summarized. You have to make it reach a conclusion. अब conclude करते करते हमें क्या जरूरी रखना है? As I told you, you have to decide whether you want to be the concluder or not. Once you decide, make sure आप conclusion कर रहे हैं. जितने points discussed हैं, you are just trying to summarize them. Make sure that you don't bring in any new points. आपको अपना कोई point यहाँ पे raise नहीं करना है. You can supplement your point, but you can't build up a new point जो अभी तक 18 मिनट में discuss ही ना हुआ. Next is, you are summarizing it. You're not giving your viewpoint. तो सिर्फ अपना viewpoint हर किस नहीं बोलना. Next, keep it brief and concise. A minute and a half would be the perfect timing. Then, जितने भी valid points group discussion में उठे हैं, चाहे आप उनसे personally agree करते हैं नहीं करते हैं, they must be included in the summarization. And lastly, if the examiner or if the supervisor asks you to summarize the GD, it means the GD has come to an end and the house is now not open for discussion. So you are not supposed to be saying anything else after that. Your job is over, your time is up, and that you're not supposed to speak up. That is an indirect signal from their end that, okay, we've listened to all of you and now we're simply going to analyze your performance. Now, these are some things that you need to remember because अक्सर जब हम एक ग्रुप में बैठे होते हैं हम भूल जाते हैं. Now, as I was telling you, कुछ ऐसे questions हैं जो हमेशा लोगों के दिमाग में आते हैं कि group discussion है, what do I do? These are some doubts, these are some confusions that perhaps even the best of books can't tell you. So वो क्या क्या चीजें हैं? First, एक question जो सबसे common question है वो ये है that what should be my objective in a group discussion? क्या objective होना चाहिए? Again, it is simply to get noticed in a group. आप एक ग्रुप में बैठे हैं, आपको अपनी presence feel करवानी है in a meaningful manner. और आपको ये कोशिश करनी है कि पूरा ग्रुप वहां जितने भी लोग बैठे हैं, चाहे वो आपसे अग्री करते हैं नहीं अग्री करते हैं, और चाहे आप उनसे एग्री करते हैं नहीं करते, यू हैव टू ट्राई एंड मेक देम ऑल रीच अ कंसेंसस, वो एक बैलेंस्ड ओपिनियन पे पहुंचे, एक नतीजे पे पहुंचे, बट दैट इज ओनली एन अटेम्प्ट, यू डोंट हैव टू फोर्स एनीबॉडी टू डू दैट. सेकंड, अब अगर मुझे पता है कि मेरा ऑब्जेक्टिव ग्रुप डिस्कशन में ये है कि मैं अपना पॉइंट बोलूं और हेल्प करूं कि दूसरे लोग भी उस कंसेंसस पे पहुंचे, कि मैं ये करूं कैसे. Again, go back to all the points that we've just discussed. Be very polite, be very, very open to ideas given by others. Do not be an attacker, do not be a clown or a dominator. Make sure you maintain a proper eye contact. Make sure people start looking up to you as a member, as a teammate who is very friendly. जिसके साथ हम अपने इश्यूज शेयर करें तो शायद वो हमें प्रोटेक्ट करे या हमें सपोर्ट करे. एंड सिमिलरली एक ऐसा एटीट्यूड कि सुपरवाइजर को भी लगे दैट हाँ, ही इज एडिंग समथिंग, ही इज मेकिंग अ मीनिंगफुल कंट्रीब्यूशन टू द ग्रुप. नाउ, another common doubt: is it wise to take a strong stand either in favor or against the topic? Why not? We are humans. We are rational people. We are blessed with a beautiful mind which can arrive at logical, reasonable conclusions. Why not? You may feel for something very, very strongly. So there's no harm in taking a stand. You don't have to give a balanced opinion in a group discussion. That's completely not necessary. Common mistakes. Once again, a very, very quick recap of everything that we've discussed. Emotional outburst. Remember, it's not a debate. You don't have to be emotionally charged. Be very, very balanced. Quality versus quantity. Speak less, but speak substantial. And don't speak unnecessarily. Don't be verbose. No egotism or showing off. No gestures. No unpleasant actions which try to demean others. No. Let your body language be very, very pleasant and positive. Get noticed, but for the right reasons. Please don't try to be the boss of the group and get noticed for the wrong reasons. Get noticed for your quality. Get noticed for your elegance, not for other ulterior motives. Managing one's insecurities. How do you manage your insecurities? Remember that you are not here to declare others losers. You're not here to declare yourself also a winner. You're simply here to get yourself noticed for the right reasons. So you don't have to care about what everybody else is doing. Just concentrate on yourself and on the topic of discussion. Now, what are the do's and don'ts? क्या क्या चीजें हैं जो हमें करनी चाहिए? सबसे पहले तो वी हैव टू बी नेचुरल. वी डोंट हैव टू अक्वायर एनीबडी एल्सेस पर्सनालिटी. हम जो हैं जैसे हैं वैसे ही एंटर करेंगे ग्रुप डिस्कशन में. सेकेंडली, speak gracefully. You basically there to be evaluated on how well your ideas are and how beautifully you present them. Speak. Secondly, take time to organize your thoughts. ये नहीं कि topic दिया and the bullet is fired and you pitch in. Take time. Even if you feel at some point in the discussion that you're not able to contribute, take time. Think. And ideas will definitely pop. So be very, very flexible on yourself. Next, clarification. In case you're not pretty sure about the topic, if you have a doubt, there's no harm asking others. But be very, very crystal clear about the concept being discussed. Then don't start speaking until and unless you're sure on that. Next, work out strategies. If you know that you're not able to take on this discussion on your head, make strategies in your mind. If you don't know what to say, if you feel your point has already been taken by somebody else, join somebody else or contradict somebody in a positive manner. Take strategies. Don't get disheartened if all your points have been covered up or you're not able to think of any particular point at a particular topic. Be very, very flexible on your mind and listen to others. Listening is an art that will definitely help you think of more ideas that are lying somewhere at the recessive of it. So be very, very cool on yourself. Next, always remember that even if you've not been able to be an initiator, there are other points. There are other ways. A hero doesn't make his entry only at the beginning of a movie. He also sometimes enter during the intermission. Rather, intermission these days happen at very, very strategical times in a movie. Similarly, you can twist the discussion at any point within those 20 precious minutes. So don't get disheartened that there are starting. Next, keep your body language positive. Next, Language skills are important, but only to a certain extent. You don't have to get disheartened if there is a very good and efficient communicative speaker sitting in front of you. Again, be assertive, not dominating. Just present your viewpoints, but not at the cost of anybody else. And don't lose your temper. Even if somebody says something unethical, just forgive them then and there. Don't react. Always be polite. Always have a smile on your face. It definitely helps you make friends with everybody else. Brush up on your leadership skills. A leader doesn't just give commands, he makes sure every single teammate gets carried in the process of marching ahead. So be that in a group discussion. Um, Evaluation. How well are you going to be evaluated? Well, you will be evaluated on those four basic parameters that we discussed. Apart from that, kya kya cheezein hain? How alert are you? How well are you listening and responding to the ideas being presented by others? What are your problem solving abilities? Agar group discussion reaches to a particular point where it reaches a dead end, were you the teammate who were able to take it out of that? Were you the one who took it, who helped it march ahead? How can you work as a team member? Are you making sure that everybody is incorporated? And how well is your creativity working at that point of time? How creatively can you take discussions to new heights altogether with your presence of mind? Now, again, some parameters that we've already discussed, but just for your revision, I'm presenting them here on the screen. Ideas, opening statement, effective conclusion, posture, gestures, eye contact, audibility. Audibility is also very important. Make sure आप इतना धीरे भी ना बोलें कि लोगों को सुनाई ना दे. Clarity, how clear are your expressions? Pronunciation, modulation, personalized presentation. How well, how nicely are you presenting your ideas कि लोगों को लगे कि वाह ये बात सिर्फ आप ही की जुबान से उतनी अच्छी लगती है. How nicely are you individualizing your ideas? Conviction, are you able to convince others? And time, कम से कम time में आप कैसे अच्छे से अच्छी बात कर पा रहे हैं? Next, body language, again pleasing, positive, no arguments. You don't have to speak too loudly, but then इतना loudly कि कम से कम दूसरों तक आवाज पहुंचे clearly, and you have to speak to all. Please remember, you're not just talking to one or two people in a group discussion. Make sure you make an eye contact with everybody around. It's not just a one-on-one discussion. Listening, how well are you receptive to the opinions of others? How attentively are you listening? Are you bringing up any new ideas? Are you making sure your creative faculties are being utilized? क्या आप एक प्रोटोकॉल को फॉलो करते हुए आगे चल रहे हैं? Are you giving a chance to everybody else? Are your points in order? क्या ग्रुप डिस्कशन एक particular synchrony में आगे चल रहा है? Are you asking questions for clarifications from others? Are you contributing something meaningful to the discussions? And how effective is the summing up? At the end, जब एक discussion conclude हो जाता है, as evaluators, what are the points that are looked up to by your jury? First of all, इस discussion का जो purpose था, क्या वो achieve हुआ? Has the group reached a consensus or not? What was the emotional climate? कैसा माहौल था discussion में? लोग tense थे, हैरान थे, गुस्से में थे? How was it? Were they attentive? Were they, wanting to participate? How was it? And how well thought was the discussion? क्या लोग aware थे जो वो कह रहे थे? Were they really convinced with the subject matter that they were bringing up, or was it simply superficial? And what was the behavior of the teammates? Participants कैसे थे? Were they well mannered? Were they orderly? Or they were too hostile towards each other? Now, some important tips that you need to remember that we've already discussed, but just for your brushing up. Remember, आपकी personality from top to bottom is being evaluated. How organized are you? Verbal and non-verbal cues. सिर्फ जुबान नहीं, आपकी पूरे how is your body behaving to others? Are you looking at somebody with a revenging attitude? Are you looking with an inquisitive look? How well organized is that? Again, remember, you're just a participant. You're not there to tell others how to behave. You're not the evaluator. You're not the warden of the group. How is your confidence level? Your communication skills? How well are you able to, and how quickly are you able to present your ideas? What is your body language? Again, are you very sure about the fact कि इस group discussion को रखने में क्या क्या चीजें यूज हुई हैं? Are you aware about the designing process, and are you contributing in making sure that that designing process is not falling flat? Next, are you making sure that you are not the dominating chord of the group? Are you a healthy participant? Are you participating on points only about which you are aware, or are you uselessly wasting the precious time of the group? Again, some more tips on how to be more courteous. If you really have something to say, as I was telling you, don't raise your hands, don't show your impatience. Wait for your turn. Next, do not attack anybody. Be very, judicious while spending your energy and words in a discussion. If you agree with them, if you feel somebody is, you know, not really making any food for thought, according to you, control. You may talk to them later, but not then and there. And also be be such a magnetic speaker that when you start speaking, the whole group channelizes its attention to you. And towards the end, again, once again, I would really like to extend my most sincere gratitude to Mrs. Neera Anand and Professor Singla for first of all allowing me to come here and then letting me build up on the ideas provided by them. Towards the end, I would just want to say, make sure when you enter into a group discussion, everybody should know that हाँ जब ये बोलेगा या जब ये बोलेगी कुछ अच्छा बोलेगी. Why? Because their body language, या जब पहले उन्होंने कुछ बोला अच्छा बोला. Even if within those 20 minutes, अगर आप सिर्फ 2 या 2.5 मिनट के लिए ही बोले, कुछ ऐसा बोले, ऐसा इतने cultured manner में बोले, something which has a lot of meaning, substance, and something so gracefully that you earn those points. Always remember, it's not about who speaks for the most time, who used the most flowery language. It's all about who is the most courteous, who came, who conquered the discussion, and who made his presence felt. So just go with that attitude and be very relaxed on yourself. Yeah.
Uh, well, friends, while sitting and listening to Madam Mohita Saxsena, I was, just listening uh, so patiently, and also I was so much impressed that when she shared with you her personal achievement on that she appeared herself for some group discussions, and she was the only one to be get selected, and in all the group discussion wherever she has gone, she was selected. Now you must be wondering, after her talk of about an hour or so here, an hour or 15 minutes, that how she was successful in those group discussions. And it might appear to you that the points which he has made to you, how you should appear and how you should participate rather in the group discussion, there may be some elements of repetition, but then they're very important. And it is always a good idea as a teachers, we feel that we have to reinforce those points over and over again to emphasize those points. And while we'll be practicing now, we will be actually now doing a group discussion, you will understand that in spite of all those repetitions, we still make mistakes. We still make mistakes. And then the purpose of now doing a group discussion at one of the centers is not to evaluate the group, but to practice what has been taught by Madam Mohita now. We will be just trying to not evaluate the group discussion, but to just have a practice session so that we understand that this is how what she was talking about, and this is what we have understood and practiced also. And this is how you have to do the practice mock group discussion with your students also. So that when the companies come to your campuses for the placement drives, that your students are able to display their best of themselves in the group discussion. There are 2-3 points which I just wanted to again, madam, which you have very beautifully brought out. You said that if you are not agreeing to a point, and you have been let us say debating for let us say 2-3 minutes, but towards the end you realize that the point on which you were dwelling upon was actually a wrong point. You want to change your opinion. I am being remembered of one thing, ma'am. I was a student of DAV school, DAV college Chandigarh, and when I entered the college, there is just before the canteen there was a board written there by the Gandhian Society. There was at that time, I'm talking about 77. There was a Gandhian Society in DAV College, and at the board it was written, "If you hate Gandhi, join our society." The society name was Gandhian Society, and at that time I was so revolutionary in my ideas, Bhagat Singh and other things. I today also I respect all those our freedom fighters, but I felt that Gandhi was a person, ordinary person, and we would have won the freedom much earlier if Gandhi had not been there and all. I really, in my heart of heart, hated Gandhi at that time, and I joined that society. Believe me, within 2-3 months only, I have started loving Gandhi. And the first book I recommended to my son when he grew up to that age was the autobiography of Gandhi, my experiences with it. And I very repeatedly keep on buying that book and share with my friends as well. So there's nothing wrong in changing your opinion, but making a correction in your thought and logically and reasonably, if you are convinced about that, and let the group know that why you are changing it. Not just like that, but there is some reason. And today I'm informed that this is the right thing, and I was not informed about it. This is also that's what very beautiful point, madam, you have talked about. There are so many questions. FAQs, we say that frequently asked questions among the people who are participating in group discussion. Should we change our stand or no? And then very beautiful point you have brought about is you can be assertive, not aggressive. The whole thing boils down to you can be assertive but not aggressive. Good listening, very interesting. And difference between conclusion and summarization, she has brought out very beautifully also in her. Many discussions may not actually be concluded. Okay, ये decision हो गया इसमें, but we can always summarize. Just try to find out what somebody has said, what somebody else has said. Both sides of the coin we are able to. So with this, ma'am, once again, I must congratulate you for this is a very beautifully you have explained every point in group discussion. And now we will request one of the centers to volunteer. We require minimum 5 to 7 participants to participate in the group discussion. मैम यू कैन सजेस्ट मी कि कौन सा सेंटर ले लें हम लोग जहाँ पे ज़्यादा लोग हैं और जहाँ पे हमारी कनेक्टिविटी भी अच्छी है मे बी इफ यू परमिट में ACD Polytechnic Siksa.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
This is Engineering College.
Good afternoon, ma'am. We will have a group discussion at your center and ACD Engineering College.
This is JCB Engineering, sir. JCB Engineering, sir.
You will like to volunteer? You will like to volunteer for the group discussion?
Yes, sir.
Okay, ठीक है.
Yes, sir.
आपकी आवाज थोड़ी इको कर रही है हमारे को.
Sir, is it okay now?
Okay, आप माइक को थोड़ा दूर पकड़ेंगे तो और अच्छा हो जाएगा. Yes.
Is it okay now?
Perfectly fine. So you choose at least 5 members from your center. We will allot the topic just now. In the meantime, you arrange your chairs in a semi-circular fashion. Let the 5 members from your center sit in a semi-circular sitting arrangement. We will give you topic, and then we will give you 2 minutes, and then maybe 10 minutes. We will have group discussion of 10 minutes. So the group is of 5 members, so we can have less time. Yeah. So you kindly ask the participant to come forward. Those who want to participate in the group discussion.
Okay, sir.
नहीं चार चेयर्स ही है नहीं मैडम पांचों
सेमी सर्कल तो देखो ये तो हो गया
मैडम ऐसे वो चेयर्स की होगा जैसे अपन का काम करते हैं
फिर ये कैमरा नहीं आएंगे हम
कैमरा टेका करते नहीं
Camera focus. Oh my God! ऐसे थोड़ी फाइल चाहिए। आओ, आप लोग अच्छी बात है। कोई नहीं बोलने की आओ। आओ प्लीज, आओ प्रिंसिपल। आप आओ ये श्वेता मैम। मर्जी मैम।
यहाँ पे कोई
हम बैठ के आओ भाई प्लीज।
आप लोग आइए, ये रेड जैकेट विद मफरल प्लीज कम इन द फ्रंट, the lady with the cap and gentleman in the white sweater and cap, please come in the front. We are going to give a very simple topic, not a very abstract topic, a very simple topic on which a lady with a very beautiful Kashmiri jacket and cap can come in the front. मैम अपना कैमरा थोड़ा पीछे करिए, हमें सब कुछ सबको देखना है, सबको दिखाई नहीं दे रहे हमारे को. Yeah, we will like to see, because you know everybody from different center will be also able to listen to you and able to see you also. Yeah, little better camera angle now we are having. The person on the right hand side is not visible now. आपकी chairs, हाँ, okay, थोड़ा सा yes. बैन करिए. परफेक्ट. ऑलराइट. बी साइड. कैमरा ठीक है, अभी कैमरा ठीक है, बिल्कुल perfectly fine. We want that you should hold your mic little away from your mouth, so that echo is not there and your sound is your voice is coming to us clearly. I will request now Madam Mohita ji to kindly give the topic to the people. Mind you, it is not actual group discussion, it is a mock group discussion. We are going to learn how you are able to apply all those things which Madam Mohita has given to you.
All right. Hi, everybody. First of all, please don't be nervous. We're not here to analyze you. We're just going to observe you. And all 5 of you are looking extremely cheerful and very confident, and that is what is actually required for a group discussion. So relax. Now, the topic of your discussion. We've all celebrated Lodi yesterday. आज आते आते हम सब सोशल मीडिया यूज करते हैं, फेसबुक पे पिक्चर्स अपलोड करके आए हैं या दूसरों की देख के आए हैं. Now topic is also related to that. Do you think Facebook as a window to our personal lives, is it a boon, is it a blessing, or is it a bane? क्या ये अच्छी बात है कि हम फेसबुक को अपनी जिंदगी का इतना इम्पोर्टेंट हिस्सा बना रहे हैं कि अपनी पर्सनल लाइफ बिल्कुल वहां खोल के रख देते हैं? क्या ये ठीक है या क्या ये गलत है? This is the topic of your discussion.
You have 10 minutes to discuss.
Topic clear?
Have you given 2 minutes to think over?
Yes. Okay, we'll give you 1 minute to think over since the topic is very easy.
माइक थोड़ा दूर रखिए, माइक थोड़ा दूर रखिए.
Is it okay? Is it okay now?
Perfectly fine.
Thank you. Everybody are aware of this.
One point I think
It is very good.
Brain मतलब है कि के लिए पॉजिटिव थिंग होना चाहिए. You want to add something? Sir, we are starting the group discussion.
yes, yes, you are talking the group.
Okay, thank you. So, well, friends, the topic today is that Facebook is a bane or that is a blessing. What according to me is that group discussion, this Facebook is a blessing because nowadays everybody is quite busy in his or her own life, and at that time, personal meeting is quite difficult for all of us. At that time, if we are given some social media, so we are able to connect with our friends, our family, our relatives. It is not possible for all of us. Like earlier, there was a community sharing and all, but due to the busy schedule of each one of us, we are not able to find much time. At that time, if we have a social media like Facebook, so we can get connected with our friends, our relatives, and whatever is going on in our life, we can give the ready-made update to each one of to whom we like. So that is not that our privacy is hampered here because to whom we like only we send that things to those. So I think it's good.
Very well said, Ma'am Sita. I'm actually get familiar with the social media sites also, and it is really for the job people, for the busy people, it is really very easy way to connect with the social media, with your friends with the app of social media. According to me, it is also an boon because in our busy schedule, when we are in a job, so it is very easy to connect to whomsoever you want to connect, to give the messages, but it should be used in a positive way, then it is good. But when you use it in a negative, you are concealing something from their context and you are using somebody on the social media, then it is vain also. So the thing is, it is known when it is used positively, but when it is misbehaving and you can say using of the concept, it can be big also.
Thank you, Sunita. Very well said, Shika and Sunita. I think Facebook is a really a very good platform because we can share valuable information, even the politicians of our country, even the PM of India, Modi. He is using Facebook as a social media to advertise politics, and even some of our friends who are in good companies, good positions, they are using Facebook as a to advertise their vacancies, their to get useful information regarding to the whatever they want. And moreover, for the educational people, for the students, and for the persons who are in a different fields, they are sharing their different views. People sitting in the different countries, they are sharing their experience to working there. So we only can share information on the Facebook, and it will be very good for all of us.
Thank you, ma'am. Actually, I think Facebook has two windows. Like first is blessing, second is it has bane also. The bane aspect little two or we just passed. I have read in the review that there was in in the Air Force, Indian Air Force officer who was giving some information to a newspaper editor who was established in London. So this aspect of Facebook is a bane, but the very positive is positively saying that we can share our information or we can get some information as well. So I think the two aspects are equally.
Thank you, sir. I am completely agree with these three intellectual theories that Facebook is boon for us. Moreover, it is boon for us. If we teach our mainly it is ban for the children below the age of 18 who are not aware of the uses of the Facebook. So we should learn. We should teach our uh, young ones how to use it as a good ones of ours. Thank you.
I do agree with Divakar sir that the children below age 18 or the persons who are not only the children, those who are not of the same mind, they may use it in negative manner. Sometimes we get criminal mind persons who may hack your information and that may use it in a negative manner. At that time, we have to be quite aware what to share on social media and what not to share. And one more thing is that how it prove negative for us is sometimes we are quite aware of using it on the social media and we get away from our near and dear one. In I see certain times that the husband and wife both are at the restaurant, but both are busy in updating their status on WhatsApp and face up that we are having dinner, and also they miss that feeling which they should share with themselves. So just we all are crazy that we whatever we have done new, so we want to update it on the social media instead of enjoying that very moment. So in this sense, that the feelings which should be given a positive manner, that is not having much existence when we are all the time crazy about updating the social media. And one more thing is that I have read in the newspaper also that the information was hacked, the bank account of one lady was hacked, and the money was taken away from that. So these type of things, when we are sharing something on Facebook, we should be quite conscious to know that we should not share anything that is very much, very much personal. So in that way, if we are aware of that thing, so naturally this Facebook is a boon for us.
I also want to share one episode of the Saxsena India. I have seen one female is conscious for the social sites and social media, and she updates each and everything about the bad behavior of husband or bad behavior of her mother-in-law, and some safety gain from the child as he was facing some problem, health issues. So she was very much conscious for the face media, and she was uploading every day, every minute of her life. So her personal life has been, you can say, publicized with her friends. The information which she should not share on the media also, on the social sites also. So again, I am coming on that point that it should be used up to some extent. It is not a method to get each and every detail of your personal life. So it will be used to share some useful information, not each and every information of your personal life. So it is very good that we should be in touch with the media and then with some social media. Rather than one more thing I want to add that the distance covered a lot by the social media also. We are very much distantly located within the country and outside the country also. I came to be in contact with my friends who are located at different countries also. So sometimes it is find very much interesting that old people you find that you are connected in the social media. So it should be used very carefully. Your social media, you can say concept. Thank you for my sake. Anybody else who wants to add it?
I also point out that Facebook is washing out our emotions as well. Just sometimes we update our feelings on just in writing, in spite of expressing that on face. Second thing, I think the pretty basic concept of Facebook is also is a problem for society because this was the concept of the government, but Facebook is providing pretty basic and this can also this is some extent this is good because those persons who could not access the internet but can also access the internet through free basic of Facebook. And second thing, I think the younger should be aware of submitting the information on Facebook before they submit actually everything. Sometimes I see the students who could not share some information with their parents and submit those information on Facebook. This is also hamper their emotions. Thank you.
I want to add one more point that social media has encouraged the selfies concept also. So because of social media, there is a great, you can say, fashion. In fact, selfie concept is the fashion. So if it is not on a regular basis, selfie is good, but not on a regular basis. That's from my side. One more thing is that Facebook is adding much to the business. The business is getting quite easier with the help of the social media, and many of the persons who do belong to the retail business, they find it that getting the order, receiving that order, and finalize the things are quite easier. That they see everything like WhatsApp and Facebook, they are getting the picture of the product, they can finalize it at once. So this is making the business easier. So in all this scenario, I just want to, anybody want to add anything? So I just want to conclude with this that the social media, the Facebook is quite beneficial for all of us. It has bridges the distances, it has bridges the gap, and we may stay connected with our old friends, our new friends who are in the nearby area or who are living abroad. And it is also having positive impact on the business also, but while sharing it, we should be quite cautious that what to share and what not to share, and we should be very conscious about the privacy concerns should be kept private because social media may be used in a negative way and some may have our information also. So that's all from our side. Thank you very much.
Great. Well, we had a very energizing group discussion here. Now, and as Professor Singla has rightly suggested, I think he would first of all like to communicate to all the other centers
Yes.
that are participating.
Well, friends, I first of all like to give a big round of applause to all the participants of the group discussion. आप लोग भी करिए. Every center must give them a round of applause for the beautiful group discussion they have held. Very cool. There was no hot scenes there. Very cool group discussions, unlike normally what happens in the actual group discussions. Before we give our comments here, just for the sake of improving or bringing about the point which she has given in her lecture before actually group discussion, we would like to open the house for comments from all the centers. If any center has any comments, जो मैडम ने बातें करी थी, क्या इन्होंने वो सब कुछ implement करा अपने group discussion में or no? We want to see that, and let us now go to one of the centers and see the comments. Maybe JCD Polytechnic. Yes. आपने ये group discussion सुनी मैम?
Extremely sorry, sir. The voice was too much echoing and we were not able to understand any of the sentence.
Okay. Just from the non-verbal communication part में आपको कुछ comments करने हैं उनके? There was some echo, we understand. हमारे को भी थोड़ी सी echo थी. we were able to get almost 60-70% of what was being said. But on their non-verbal communication, जो आपने देखा उनको, उसमें कुछ comments हैं आपके?
It was so I can say, but a thing was that they were not having any kind of expression, like gladly contributing their views. They were just in a group that they have been focused and they have been watching, and they were very much tense in that way. It was
Okay,
probably
thank you.
the same thing.
Thank you. Can we go to YMCA? YMCA? Okay. At Sanskriti group of institutions at Mathura. Any comments from your side, sir?
Sir, good evening. I just want to share my views at one of the centers there. We just saw a group discussion over there. Each of them who were discussing the things were like they shared their opinions. They came out with their points and they were very well organized. Each of them has spoken something. Like what happened when a person has finished, next person was ready with their points and they have shared it brilliantly. So it was an all together effort. They all have contributed their views, shared their opinions and facts about what the madam has given a topic on this group discussion.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Can we go to Bikaner, ma'am? Bikaner में है तो? Okay. सरदूलगढ़ में भारत ग्रुप ऑफ इंस्टीट्यूट में वो हैं दिया हुए. Okay. Okay. Ma'am, you
Well, one very good thing about your group discussion was that everybody participated. So for that, really kudos to you. I think the lady in a white jacket, she really won my heart with her courtesy and her such well-groomed mannerisms. You were so courteous. The moment you held the mic, you thanked your former participant, and the poise with which you handed over the mic to the next participant was also commendable. So you were very good. You were naturally very graceful. The gentleman in the white sweater was also very succinct, very organized in his thoughts. He spoke less, but he spoke just for the right amount of time. So for that also he was really good, commendable. Yeah, but he was lacking in eye contact. So that was why he was mostly looking at the floor while talking. So you had such amazing points. You should have been rather more confident, you know. The other thing that I would like to tell everybody is remember that you don't have to repeat the points in a group discussion. Some of you went into, you know, counting the advantages, disadvantages, or what should be shared, what not should be shared. We are not professing anything about Facebook, you know. It was, you just had to stick to your points. And then a lot of repetition, same points again and again. So always remember the key is to speak lesser. You don't have to repeat your points. The lesser you speak, the more graceful you look. I think the lady in the red attire won my heart, you know, just for being so succinct and so to the point. But as a group, you were very good, so congratulations for that.
Again, give a round of applause. And with this, we conclude this session once again. On behalf of all the participants, I'd like to express my deepest sense of gratitude to Madam Mohita Saxsena ji for sparing her valuable time. Just now I came to know that she was not actually so well, but in spite of that, she conducted the session in such a with energetic and great energy. Thank you, ma'am, for being with us. We look forward to having more sessions with you on different topics in our forthcoming programs also. And any of the centers like to invite any of the speakers here. I am going to send you the list of the speakers with their addresses and phone numbers. You can call them at your college also. It's a good idea to actually conduct good discussions at your colleges with your students, so that when the companies come to your campuses, the students are well prepared for that. Thank you so much once again, and we call it a day. Enjoy your evening. We meet at 9:30 sharp tomorrow morning, and we are having a session on report writing. Very interesting session, I would say. There are so many problems in the reports which I see in the colleges. I see so many problems in that. If your report writing is very good, your name of the institution shines all over the world. People know you only from the reports which go out from their colleges, and there are so many
Sorry to
flaws in
interrupt you,
that.
sir.
We
Sir, we
will we
have a
will
query.
about that. Say again,
We
ma'am.
have a query regarding the GD. I want to ask a question to ma'am.
Okay, okay,
We
ask.
are from GCD Polytechnic, Sirsa. Hello, good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Ma'am, I just wanted to know that rarely conduct GDs, but want a suggestion that regarding the topics, that where should I find the new topics, relevant topics to my students, and how
Yes,
should I manage? Because recently I had attended a session where they
Right.
gave a GD. They had prepared a GD, and the topic was extremely different, which I have never heard. Like it was a saffron flag hoisted on the red coat, and so please present yourself on this group discussion. And it was really a different one, which was I was not able to understand any of the thing. So I just
yes.
wanted to know, so for such situations, where should I find the new topics, and how should I manage with my students? This is my question, ma'am.
Well, I think the first and the foremost choice regarding topics depends upon your target audience. You are the best judge regarding the intellectual level of your students. My advice would be very unconventional. There was a way in which our generation was brought up. We were brought up on a lot of essay books and stuff. The old question papers. Please start looking beyond them. When we talk about finding new topics, we have to come out of topics like overpopulation and global warming and stuff. Internet is a very good tool. I, as a GD conductor, I would never go to any particular site or a book. I just listen to myself. I just look around. For example, these days, a lot of burning issues. Even while driving to give away this presentation today, this is the idea that struck my mind. That okay, Facebook is everywhere, so why not use it up? So instead of looking for ideas, just look within. For example, a lot of, let's say, movies trying to cross the 100 crore mark. Is this justified? Do you think the quality of movies should be compromised to reach this? Or the fact that actresses in Bollywood don't get paid as much as their male counterparts? Or the fact should admissions in nursery schools be categorized according to, quota system or distance from the school? Any topic. As a wife, as a mother, as a sister, as whatever. What are the topics that keep crossing your mind day in and day out? If despite all this, if there's something new that you would like to, please go to Google. It's a very, very useful thing. Very immensely, and you can type it year-wise. For example, interesting topics for group discussion 2016. Also type your country, your society you're living in. It'll give you a lot of ideas. So maybe something like that, or maybe next time, I think Sir is going to share my details. So please feel free to give me a tinkle on WhatsApp or email me, and I'll be really happy to help you with such things. I mean, you're always welcome.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you very much.
To think out of box, and sometimes some abstract topics can also be very interesting.
Yes.
To see the creativity, as just now she mentioned, the purpose of the GD should be very clear. If you want to recruit somebody who are the people who can think out of box, then some abstract topics. I have seen the topics like green versus red. A lot of debates going on in the hall. So many, I mean, topics can be any topic can be there, depending on the purpose for which you are selecting the people or the intellectual level. That can be very much. We meet at 9:30 tomorrow. Thank you.